Hello, grade 7. Welcome to Life Orientation, grade 7 2025 term 4 examination preparation for life orientation. So the total number of marks for the paper which you are anticipating to write, it's 70 marks. Then the time allocation will be 90 minutes. Then it is important for you to read all the instructions carefully before you start to answer the questions. You leave an line open at the end of each question so that it can allow markers to go through your answers without difficulty. So in section A, that's 25 marks. It's a compulsory section, which means that this one, you are not choosing anything. Section A and section B, you answer all the questions which are provided there. Then if you look at section C, in section C, you're supposed to answer only 2 questions. And as you're answering those 2 questions, you need to answer in full sentences. So you choose any 2 questions in section C, then you answer them in full. You should answer section C in full sentences and paragraphs. The questions in this section will test your ability to apply your knowledge and your skills. Then you are reminded to write neatly and legibly. So let's move straight into them. Questions themselves. Section A, answer all questions in this session. All right, multiple choice questions. Choose the most correct answer from the 4 options provided. Write the letter of the correct word answer next to the question number. So, e.g. 1.1, the following substances are taken for pleasure. So, substances which are taken for pleasure are called recreational substances. So, the correct answer for that particular question is A, recreational. That is A, recreational. They are known as recreational substances. They are taken for leisure, for enjoyment. They are called recreational. Okay, now moving on to the second question. The second question reads, the following examples are ways in which substances are taken. So if you look at these ways in which different substances are taken, swallowing, yes, some substances are taken through swallowing, especially pills can be taken through swallowing. Then smoking, yes, there are some substances which are taken through smoking, for example, marijuana, and also cigarettes are taken through smoking. Then snorting, yes, there are some substances which are taken through snorting, which are usually powders, which are snorted through the nostrils. So the correct answer here would be all of the above. All of the above are methods in which substances can be taken in. All of the above. Then 1.3, we can solve some of the environmental health problems that our world is experiencing by. So how can we solve our environmental health problems that we are experiencing? So this can be done through we can solve some of our environmental health problems that our world is experiencing. So I'm going to eliminate the wrong answers. So A won't be an appropriate response. Through littering, that's not possible. Littering is actually bad for for the environment. Then we move on to the next one. Recycling. Yes, recycling might be our most suitable response there. Recycling must be our most suitable response. So we can solve some of our environmental health problems that our world is experiencing through recycling. So recycling, which is represented by the letter B, will be our correct answer. Then career-related activities are those things people do at. So the things which are career-related activities are those things which people do at work. So at work will be our correct answer there. That is our correct answer, at work. Then people who do not eat meat but may eat other animal products, such as eggs, they are known as, so these people, they do not eat meat but may eat other animal products. They are known as vegetarians. They are known as vegetarians. So that is the first question. Then moving straight to the next questions. The next question requires us to fill in the missing words. So, which of the following is an eating disorder? So, the eating disorder which this question is looking at is called anorexia. Anorexia is the eating disorder which the question is looking for. So, this is known as anorexia. Anorexia. So anorexia is an eating disorder whereby it results in a person having a body which is mainly very, very extremely slim. All right. Then 2.2, the drugs that stop the replication of the HIV virus, keeping the viral count in the bloodstream down. So the drugs which fight against the viral load in HIV/AIDS, they are known as antiretroviral drugs. Antiretroviral drugs. So the abbreviation for antiretroviral drugs is ARV. They are commonly also referred to as ARVs. In most situations, they are referred to as ARVs. Then 2.3 means that stories, poems, wisdom, and songs are communicated verbally either by speaking or by singing. So that is known as oral tradition. Oral tradition will be our correct answer there. This is known as oral tradition. That is the passing on of information through stories, poems, wisdom, and songs, which are communicated verbally either by speaking or by singing. Some diseases must be treated throughout a person's life. So diseases which are treated throughout a person's life, they are referred to as chronic diseases. Chronic diseases are treated throughout a person's life. Then 2.5, ongoing dependence on substances is called when there is an ongoing dependence on substance that is known as addiction. That is referred to as addiction. When there's an ongoing extreme dependence on substances, we refer to that as addiction. Then when we move on to the next one, define the following concepts or terms in your own words. When you're talking about euphoria, what are we referring to basically? So for these ones, I'm going to be writing them in detail in the next page. So when we are talking about euphoria, basically we are talking about a false state of extreme happiness. That is a false state of extreme happiness. That is a false state of extreme happiness. That's happiness which you feel, but which is actually false, which might be caused by a particular substance. Then an entrepreneur is a person who takes the risks and starts his or her own business. So when you're talking about an entrepreneur, we are talking about someone who takes a risk and they start his or her own business. Then when we move on to substance abuse, substance abuse refers to the illegal and illegal. It refers to the legal and the illegal use of a substance for its effect on the human body. So it can be the legal or the illegal use of a substance for its effect on the human body, So substance abuse affects health negatively. It negatively affects health. It affects health negatively. So examples of substance abuse include alcohol abuse, abuse of prescription, even prescribed medications, prescription medications, They can also be abused. So that is substance abuse. Then moving on to the next one, nutrients. When you're talking about nutrients, we are talking about a substance that provides nourishment, a substance that provides nourishment to the body with nourishment. It's a substance that provides the body with nourishment. It nourishes the body, provides the body with nourishment, and helps animals, and plants to survive and grow. It enables the animal to survive and to grow. Then waterborne illnesses 3.5. These are illnesses caused by a bacteria. These are illnesses caused by a bacteria that accumulates. These are illnesses caused by bacteria that accumulates and multiply in unclean water. In unclean water or in contaminated water. In unclean or contaminated water. So I'm going to give you examples of waterborne illnesses. So waterborne illnesses include the following. Examples, e.g., cholera and typhoid. These are examples of waterborne diseases. Cholera and typhoid are typical examples of waterborne diseases. Now, moving on to the next question. All right, the next question, choose a description in column B that matches the concepts or term in column A. Write only the letter A to E next to the question number. So let's start with doping. We need a description that matches doping. So we are going to go through all this together. So the correct decision which is associated with doping would be the letter C. So doping is associated with the letter C. Why are we saying so? It is giving or taking drugs to improve performance in sports. That is what we call doping. So doping, that is giving or taking drugs to improve performance. Then moving on to the next one, simulation. Simulation, it refers to pretending a pretend activity that imitates an actual situation. Simulation is when you pretend to do something which imitates an actual situation. So the correct letter here will be the letter E. That is simulation. Simulation will be associated with the letter E. Then water pollution. Water pollution, that is the contamination of water sources. Water pollution is the contamination of water sources, so it is associated with A. That is the contamination of water sources by substances which make water unusable for drinking and for cooking and other activities. That is water contamination, A. Then 4.4, interpersonal influences. So when you're talking about interpersonal influences, we're talking about the issues in a relationship. These are basically issues in a relationship, issues in the relationship between people. This includes family, community, and peer relationships. That refers to interpersonal. So the correct answer there will be B. Then Christianity. Christianity is basically a religion that believes in the Son of God, and it reads the Bible as their holy book. So that is the religion called Christianity. They believe in the Son of God, and they read the Bible as their holy book, which is the letter D. So let's quickly go through this once more. Doping, that is giving or taking drugs to improve mental performance. Simulation, that is basically to pretend it's a pretend activity that imitates an actual situation. Then water pollution, that is the contamination of water sources by substances which make water unusable for drinking and for cooking and for all the other activities. Then interpersonal influences, these are the issues in the relationship of people. This includes family, community, and peer relationships. Then finally, Christianity is a religion that believes in the Son of God, and they read the Bible as their holy book. Now, moving straight to the next question again. The next question is section B, that is a compulsory section. So we do have a case study which we are going to read here. So the instruction, our key instruction says, read the case study. So do not rush to answer the questions before reading the case study. So the first step is reading the case study. So we have personal stories from TB survivors. So it means that we are going to come across information about a disease called tuberculosis or TB. My name is Sophia, 34 years old, and a tuberculosis survivor. A few years ago, I moved to Johannesburg to find a job. Soon after, I realized that I wasn't feeling well, and I was always tired. My chest was hurting. I was coughing a lot, sometimes with blood. I had no appetite, so I went to the hospital where I had a sputum test. I was given medicines and sent home, but after a week, I returned to the hospital because I was not getting better. Finally, doctors sent me for an X-ray, and shortly after, they told me I had TB. I was shocked. I couldn't understand how I had been infected, and I told them I didn't drink or smoke. They told me that TB is an airborne disease, and it can affect any one of us anyway. So I had to go to the nearest clinic for TB, directly observed treatment, short course dots to start the treatment. The treatment starts for 6 months. When I started the medication, I vomited every time I swallowed a pill. I developed side effects from the medication. Now we go straight to the questions. All right. So the question reads: list the three symptoms of TB. So when we are talking about the symptoms of TB, they include the following. There is the loss of appetite, like what has been mentioned there. TB is associated with the loss of appetite. You lose your appetite. So there is loss of appetite. That is the first effect. Then in addition to that, we also have weight loss. You lose your weight. Weight loss is another symptom associated with the disease TB. Then in addition to that, TB is also associated with night sweat, sweating a lot at night, night sweats. So we now have our three. Just as an addition then, we also have coughing. It is associated with coughing. And sometimes coughing, blood, coughing, and sometimes you'll be coughing. Your cough will be, you end up coughing blood as well. Then in addition to that, we also have, we have listed loss of appetite, weight loss, night sweats. We also have chest pains, chest pains, and tiredness. So all these are symptoms which are associated with tuberculosis. Then 5.2, how should this infection be treated? So the first thing is that the infection is treated. The infection is treated through a method, through direct, observed treatment. It is treated through direct observed treatment, which is abbreviated as DOTS. So with this kind of treatment, it involves taking It involves taking antibiotics orally, taking oral antibiotics for 6 months. So that is how you treat TB. You take oral antibiotic treatment for 6 months. Then at times you can be isolated so that it does not spread to other people as well. So it can also result in you being put under isolation. Then the next question, TB is an airborne disease. So TB is an airborne disease. Explain what this fully means. So when we are talking about an airborne disease, basically we are talking about diseases caused by bacteria or pathogens spreads through the air. So these are the diseases or pathogens. Sorry, these diseases caused by bacteria or pathogens spread through the air. So it means that bacteria is spread through droplets in the air. Bacteria is spread through droplets in the air. It is spread by droplets in the air. Then 5.4, discuss what family members of people who are infected could do to prevent the spread of his infection. So family members are encouraged to do the following methods. So as a family member, if you have a family member who is not feeling well or who has contracted TB, encourage family members to receive treatment. Encourage family members to receive treatment. You must encourage them, not to discourage them, but to encourage them to get treatment. Because most people will be in denial. Then advise members to stick to treatment for 6 months, to take treatment for 6 months. Advise members to take treatment for 6 months. So advise them to take treatment for 6 months. Then in addition to that, you can also encourage the wearing of masks. The wearing of masks. All right, another thing, put sick people in isolation if possible. In isolation, but do not discriminate. You can put them in isolation, but you mustn't practice discrimination. You must treat them equally. You must also treat them like any other people. Then in addition to that, read the case study below and answer the questions that follow. What influences food choices in the case study below, adapted from Spot On Life Orientation Learner's Book, Grade 7. Andy Len's mother packs school lunches for her children each morning. She plans for the week ahead to make sure that she has various items in the lunch boxes. Andy Len's lunchbox usually consists of grilled chicken strips, yogurt, then we have fish cakes, then we also have peanut butter, whole wheat sandwich. His mother only buys pure fruit juice. She doesn't want her children to buy fatty chips at the tuck shop. Yes. Then Kensani lives in a small fishing village with his unemployed parents that are far away from the town. Most of the food that they have to eat has to be grown or made by themselves or caught in the dam or a river next to their village. His brother goes fishing early in the morning every day. Then the family is only able to go to town once a month after the SASA payment. For breakfast, they eat bread that his father makes. Lunch is porridge with fish. Supper is fish. Then everyone in his village eats the same type of food. Kensani can't wait to go to town to buy chips and a fizzy drink. So now the next question reads, discuss economic factors influenced, how economic factors influenced Andile's family. So the first thing which we are going to state there is that the income, it influences people's food choice. The income influences, so we can say income influences people's food choice. The amount of money which you get. So this is the income. Income, we are talking about the amount of money which you have. It influences the type of food that you eat, influences people's food choices. So this is determined by the income. So the next thing which we look at is so in this case, we can say that the income, so Andile's family, Andile's family can afford to buy Andile's family can afford to buy a variety of food as compared to the other family there. To afford a variety of nutritious food. Andile's family can afford to buy a variety of nutritious food. Then in addition to that, you can actually say that her mother has a wider choice of food. Her mother has a wider choice of food options. Her mother had a variety of food options, e.g. whole wheat. They afford to eat whole wheat bread. In addition to that, they can buy pure fruit juice, which is sometimes known as 100% fruit juice. In addition to that, they can also afford things like peanut butter sandwiches and other healthier options. So the meals are balanced. If you look at the meals are balanced. The meals are balanced. They have all the necessary nutrients. The meals are balanced. They have all the necessary nutrients. Now let's look at the other child. The other child is Kensani. So the question reads, discuss how environmental, ecological, and economic factors influenced Kensani's family choice of food. So these ones, they have a limited choice. So environmental or ecological influences. Their food choices are influenced by the environment which they live. They live next to a dam. The family stays next to a dam. Lives in a rural community. Community next to the dam, next to the river and the dam. Next to the river and the dam. Therefore, they rely on fish for survival or for nutrition. They rely on fish for nutrition. Then, in addition to that, they rely on homemade meals, rely on homemade meals for survival. So they rely on homemade meals for survival. Then 6.3 reads, identify 2 proteins in Andile's lunchbox. So we need to go back to Andile's lunchbox and find out what's inside there, which provides or acts as a source of protein. So the first thing here, we are going to identify the chicken. Okay, it's already identified. So the grilled chicken strips, that is number 1. Then yogurt, the fish cakes, eggs, peanut butter. So there is so much protein there. So we are going to write, so we have grilled chicken, grilled chicken strips. In addition to the grilled chicken strips, peanut butter sandwiches. Peanut butter contains so much proteins. Then in addition to peanut butter sandwiches, you would find that she's also enjoying yogurt, which is a dairy product. Yogurt. Then in addition to the yogurt, there is also eggs. There are also eggs there. So this lunchbox is packed with proteins. Then moving on to the next question, is what Kensani wants to buy in town, is it healthy for your body? All right, so let's look at what Kensani wants to buy in town. So Kensani wants to buy chips and a fizzy drink. All right, Kensani wants to buy chips and fizzy drinks and a fizzy drink which is not healthy for him. Chips contain too many fats and calories, too much calories and too much fat. Chips contain too much calories and too much fat, which is not good for him. Then in addition to that, fizzy drinks contain too much sugar. Fizzy drinks contain too much sugar, which is not good for him. So that is Kensani. Now let's move on to the next question. So the next question is question 7. All right, question 7 reads, give one word or term. So the key thing here, we are supposed to provide a word or a term, not both. We are supposed to provide a word or a term for each of the following descriptions. Write the term next to the question number. So what we are going to do here, we are going to be writing our answers right below there. All right. A center for providing care for the sick and the terminally ill patients. That center is known as a hospice. Hospice. Yes, it is a center which is responsible for providing care for the sick or terminally ill patients. Then 7.2, a condition where a person is carrying too much fat. When a person is carrying too much fat, we refer to that as obesity. Obesity. When someone is carrying too much fat, that condition is known as obesity. The action of cutting trees, which negatively affects the environment, is known as deforestation. That is known as deforestation. That is the action of cutting down trees, which negatively affects the environment. Then 7.4, when a person does not admit to himself or herself that they have a drug addiction problem and say there is no problem and not go for help, they are in denial. Such people would be in denial. Then 7.5, when knowledge, arts, ideas, beliefs, history, etc. are spoken out and passed from one generation to another generation, that is known as oral tradition. When arts, knowledge, art, ideas, and beliefs are spoken out and passed from one generation to one generation, it's called or is referred to as oral tradition. Then in section C, which I talked about earlier on, that's where you are required to answer any two questions. You only choose two questions from the ones which are given. All right, so let's go straight into it. 8.1. So if you look at the image of 8.1, we do have that is extreme land pollution taking place, illegal dumping, which is taking place right next to the road there. Then it is also blocking the drains. You can see the amount of litter which is there. Then there is a caption which is here: Pretoria, 13 November 2022, illegal dumping in the Zilla stream. Picture, Jacques and Naud, African News Agency. Then it was adapted from this particular website. Then one person has the power to make a contribution to environmental health, even if it is a small contribution. In a short essay, useful sentences, use the problem-solving process and draw up an action plan to solve one of the environmental health issues depicted or shown in the pictures above. Identify the problem, brainstorm, and analyze possible solutions, evaluate each solution, strengths and weaknesses. All right. So for this particular problem, we have the problem of illegal dumping. All right. So the problem depicted in the picture is a combination. That is a combination of land pollution and water pollution. Remember, this is taking place next to the stream. Of land pollution. This is a combination of land pollution and water pollution. Pollution caused by the illegal dumping of waste near streams. All right, so that is the first thing. So we have identified the problem. We've done this first part. We have identified the problem. Now we need to brainstorm the ideas. The ideas or the solutions to this particular problem. So we are now moving on to the next step. All right, some solutions to this problem would include educating the community, educating the community about the dangers of land and water pollution. The community needs to be educated about them, dangers of land and water pollution. In addition to that, campaigns can be made, to influence the municipality to provide skip bins, those large bins for dumping waste, to provide skip bins next to this community, in this community actually. They are supposed to provide skip bins in the community and should collect refuse. They should collect refuse from the bins. The municipality should collect refuse. The municipality of Tshwane, because I think this is specifically for Pretoria. So the municipality or the Tshwane local municipality should collect the refuse. So we have brainstormed or analyzed some of the possible solutions. So this would reduce waste pollution of the environment. This would reduce pollution of the environment. All right, skip bins would prevent waste from going into the stream. We are now evaluating getting into waterways and streams and streams. In addition to that, there will be fewer. There would be fewer environmental hazards. So by so doing, there will be fewer environmental hazards. So through the provision of skip bins. However, skip bins can be expensive to set up, and the municipality can take up more time to act. So these are some of the weaknesses. So the community can come up with their own initiatives, community, instead of relying too much on the municipality, they can come up with their own cleanup initiatives or campaigns, rather than waiting for government. Instead of waiting for government, they can come up with their own initiatives. So instead of waiting for government, they can come up with their initiatives. So basically, that is the best solution. So implementation is getting on the ground. So the community can clean up their environment with assistance from non-governmental organizations, which are known as NGOs. They can assist, they can clean up with the environment with the assistance from NGOs. So there we are. That is question, that is actually question what? 8.1. Now let's move on to the second part of the question, which is 8.2. All right, 8.2 reads business, teaching, finance, animation, medicine, technology, fashion, web development, media, content marketing. Then we also have design and IT. So before you decide on a career, you should first research for a number of aspects related to your what, to your choices. So as you are doing that, discuss the aspects which you would discuss not less than aspects which you consider when choosing a career. Explain why a person might be at disadvantage if he does not have to take this into consideration. So I'm going to list quite a number of aspects which need to be taken into consideration. So your interests and abilities are important when considering a career. When considering a career, your interests and your abilities are important when considering your career. Why are we saying so? This will motivate you to achieve your goals. So, in addition, choosing things or a field you are talented in, increases your careers for success. It increases your chances of success. When you choose things which you are talented in, that actually increases your chances of what? Of success. Then studying subjects related to the career. Studying subjects related to the career is also important. Because it gives you the foundation base to setting up your career. Gives you the foundation base to setting up your career. It gives you an introduction to your career, to setting up your career. Then in addition to that, schooling level is very important. Schools level of schooling is important because level of schooling is important because it opens up avenues to different career options. So the fact that you have been schooled at a higher level, it opens up avenues to different career options. Then the duration of the study usually influences your expertise, how good you are in a particular what. It usually influences your expertise in a career field. It usually influences your expertise in a career field, which determines how much reward or money you get, you will be paid. In addition to this, other things which influence, we also have dress code. It's also an important thing. Then we also have things like opportunities within each career field. What opportunities do you find in each career field? Opportunities in each career field. All right. Now moving on to the next one. The next question, it has something to do with substance abuse. That is the next question. Substance abuse. So we have substance abuse. We have images of law enforcement authorities searching learners there. That is taken from citizens.co.za, Benoni City Times headlines, drugs and weapons confiscated in schools during raids. We have police officers who are there. That is, yes. You have been asked to give a motivational talk to your peers during the grade 7 farewell party at your school. You want to address them about the dangers of substance abuse. So advise them focusing on the types of substances that are abused by learners. So the first thing we will talk about are the types of substances. Then the physical and the behavioral symptoms that they must be on the lookout for. Then why police are sometimes called to schools, the importance of calling police to schools. Conclude by giving the advice on protective factors that reduce the likelihood of substance abuse. Okay, some factors which cause this. All right, so we are going to use that as our guideline. All right. So you're providing advice on your providing advice or a motivational talk to your peers during the grade 7 farewell party. So obviously start by greeting them, but I'm not going to include that. All right. Then most commonly abused substances are recreational substances that are legal. So these include tobacco and alcohol, which is usually abused by several youth. Abused by several youth. All right, that is the first thing. Okay, as then youth grow tolerant when they get used to these substances, which are tobacco and alcohol. As the youth grow tolerant, they start experimenting with illegal recreational substances. So they go to another stage. It's like they are graduating to the next stage. They start experimenting with illegal recreational substances such as dagga, heroin, crystal meth, and cocaine. So there are these substances can be classified. They can be classified as opiates, which contain opium. They can be classified as opiates, depressants, and stimulants. So they can be classified in those following categories. Then in addition to that, what are the signs we should be on the lookout for? So these ones, I'll write them in the different in color. So then physical symptoms. Physical symptoms of drug abuse. Abuse includes weight loss or gain, depending on the type of drug. Then red, glossy eyes, dilated pupils, which are the inner parts of the eyes. All right, eating patterns can also change. Some may overeat and some may undereat. Some substances result in mood swings. When people change their mood swings, then in some cases, there are poor sleep patterns, sleeping patterns. Then some substances lead to bad habits. Some substances lead to bad habits, such as stealing, lying, and swearing. And swearing, it results in other bad behavior, such as stealing. Some will end up lying, and some would end up becoming very, very rude, swearing, violent, etc. So in addition to this, protective factors that can reduce substance abuse include the following: choosing friends wisely, it includes choosing your friends wisely. Don't just choose any friend. Then in addition to that, it can also involve choosing good role models. It can also involve choosing role models, take part in exercises, sports, or physical exercises. You must take part in physical exercises. Then obey your parents and teachers. And teachers, obey your parents and teachers. Avoid experimenting. Join support groups. Join support groups such as religious organizations. All right. Now to answer the part where which reads is the part, the last bullet, which is there. Why are police sometimes called to schools? So we have answered this one. So we need this one now. Why are sometimes police called to schools? So for this one, police, they are sometimes called to schools to search for drugs. It is their responsibility to search for drugs and confiscate them. It is the responsibility of them, police, to do that. The drugs, to search for weapons, and to create more safer schools. More safer schools. The police also educate learners on the dangers of substance abuse, of crime and substance abuse. They are also responsible for educating the community on the dangers of crime and substance abuse. So that is the responsibility of the police. So, yes, so this brings us to the end of this particular session. Thank you for being part of my audience. I hope to see you in other sections where we'll be discussing other papers and other different concepts. Wish you the best of luck in your end of year examination. Do your best, stay safe, stay away from substances, and do your best in order towards to pass. Thank you.